Welcome back to Mastering Beat Making with the SP-404 Mark II. In this video, I'm going to be covering how to make beats with the pattern sequencer, how to make beats via resample, and how to make beats via kind of a hybrid of both of those methods. First of all, I'm going to make a beat with the pattern sequencer, which is my favorite way to make beats at the moment, just because you have so much control over where your chops are and what you can do. From the previous video, we chopped up a drum break and a sample. So first thing you want to do is go into the pattern area and hit pattern select. This basically prompts you to select where you want to record your pattern into. So each one of the pads here, 1 through 16, can hold various patterns. So hit pattern select, hit record. Then you'll hear the metronome start. You'll see the BPM is at 93. And it's kind of flashing at you, asking you which bank do you want to go into as far as recording your pattern. So I'll say A1 is good, and this brings up kind of a new set of options here. So your BPM is 93. Your length is the length in bars. I will turn off the metronome by holding Shift and adjusting the volume to 0 for now. Change the length in bars to 4 bars. I usually make my beats in 4-bar sections. The strength is the quantization. For the drums, I do like to set the quantize to 100%, just so that the drums are exactly where I need them to be within the grid. And then I adjust the speed and pitch and whatnot to kind of create the swing afterward. 93 BPM seems a bit fast, so I'll change that to 87. I will turn the metronome back on by holding down Shift and adjusting, and then I will start to record. So I'll start the recording process by hitting record, and it'll give me a countdown. So now it's recording. If I want to rehearse before I record, I can hit record again, and it'll put me in rehearsal mode. So my drum chops are in bank B, so that sounds good. Let's record that. And if I hit exit, it'll stop recording. And I can stop the pattern recording by pressing A1. There's our drums recorded into the pattern. So if I want to adjust the swing of those drums, because of the steps we took in the previous videos where I turned the vinyl mode off for the entire bank for the drums, while the pattern's playing, I can press pattern select again, and it'll allow me to see which pads are being triggered at that moment in time. So you'll see what I mean. So you can kind of follow along here. So you can see where the pads are being triggered, and you can also adjust the parameters of those pads in real time. So I want to adjust the speed of those pads as it's playing and kind of listen to hear what sounds good to me as far as the swing goes. So let's try that. I'm going to hold down copy to affect all the pads at once. Okay, so that added quite a bit of swing, but I think that'll work for our beat here. Next, I want to record the sample over top of those drums. You can hit record again and select pad A1. And I want to turn the metronome off this time, so hold Shift, Control knob 3, turn it all the way off. I also want to turn the strength down for the quantize. So I'll usually turn it down to, let's say, 15%, just so it's slightly helping, but not really. Then I'll hit record again, count down, hit record again for the rehearsal mode, go into bank C where my samples are, and kind of rehearse and play around to hear or to see what sounds good to me. So that sounds pretty good to me, so we'll record that. Hit exit to stop the recording. Same kind of workflow, so as the pattern's playing, I'll hit pattern select, go into my bank C where all my sample chops are, and adjust those to fine-tune to what I want the beat to sound like. So I'll enable the pitch, hold down copy to affect all the pads, and adjust. That's typically where I leave off for kind of a quick 4-bar idea. From there, you can add different effects to the sounds. If you exit pattern mode here, hit pattern select again, it'll go back into the regular sample mode. Bank B, you can use your bus effects. I usually like to put an isolator on the drums. You can adjust those with the control knobs here. Then I'll go on to the sample chops and put bus 2 isolator on the chops here. In order to add the bus 2 to the bank C, I hit remain and then press bank C. And green represents bus 2. Bus 1 is orange. So orange, bus 1 isolator, go into bank C, green, bus 2 isolator. And then from there, I usually put compressor and another isolator. So isolator compressor on buses 3 and 4, which are essentially the master effects chains. Let's hear what that sounds like. So that sounds pretty good. The beauty with making beats in the pattern sequencer is that you can create tracks out of multiple patterns. You can kind of chain them together in a pattern chain. In order to do that, I will copy my pattern, create another pattern, and bank a pad 2, hit copy. So now I have 2 identical patterns here. For the second pattern, I want to remove the drums from the first part to just kind of create a variation. In order to do that, I can hit record, select the pattern I want. A2 is the copy of the pattern. I can hit record, and once it's recording, I can hit delete, and that will set it up so that whatever pads I hold down will be removed from the pattern. So I'll show you quickly here. So I'll press delete as it's playing. Now I'm in erase mode, and I want to erase the drums from the first section here. So I hold them down, and hit exit to stop the recording. So now the drums are gone from the first part of that pattern. Yeah, I did that to quickly show that you can set up the pattern chain here. If I'm in pattern select mode and then I hold down the hold pad here, now it's asking me to please select chain 1 through 16. So you can have 16 different pattern chains. I'm going to select pad 1, I'm going to let go. Now it's asking me how I want to set up this track structure. So I'm just going to go pattern 1, pattern 2, pattern 2, and then just repeat it back to pattern 1 again. There's different modes for playing back. Repeat all is what it is currently. You can change that by hitting remain, repeat current, repeat off. We'll go repeat all, and then if I hit subpad, it'll start playing that chain of patterns to preview. A2, the drums will cut off. And it'll play A2 one more time. And now it'll loop back to A1. And that will go forever until you stop it. That's pretty amazing for creating different beat variations. It takes a little pre-planning, but once you get the hang of it and you have different pads for different types of variations, it becomes super powerful. Another great thing about pattern mode is that you can export stems from your patterns. So you can do even more manipulation of the audio or the sample afterward. Let's say I like pattern 1. With the drums and the sample. There's no dropouts for the drums, but I want to separate out the stems. So I want to separate the drums and I want to separate the sample. So I can hit copy, select the pad I want to copy from, then I'll hit remain and select bank B for where my drums are. So I want to select all of the drum pads only to record those into a standalone sample somewhere else. So once I selected my pads, hit remain again. Now if I hit pattern select, it'll go from copying a pattern into copying to a sample. So then I go to bank E, I'll go to E1, and I will then hit copy. And once I hit copy, it's going to render that pattern, but only the drum part of that pattern into bank E, pad 1. So that just takes a second, and now jumps me to bank E, pad 1. And if I press the pad, I can kind of analyze what's there. It's only the drums. So it's only the drums from that pattern with the additional swing that I put on it. Now I want to export just the sample. So I can go to pattern select, go into A1, hit copy, select A1, remain to select which samples or sounds I want to copy over. I want just the sample. This is the drum section, nothing selected. Bank C, all of the sample pads are selected. When I go remain, I want to transfer that as a sample, not a pattern. Go to E2 and then copy. And now that will copy just the sample layer for that pattern. So if I press E2, I'll see just the sample loop. What's great about this is I can then use the pad link to link those pads together. But first I will set it to loop, turn off the gate for the drums. Same thing, gate off for the sample, loop for the sample. Now I can go shift, pad link, select E, 1 and 2. And now when I trigger either of these samples, they're going to trigger each other. And they're going to loop. So that is amazing. If I go BPM sync, I can then change the speed of those loops. So now if I go into tap tempo, as it's playing, I can slow it down or speed it up. Or slow it down. On top of that, I can adjust the pitch of either of those samples. So let's say I don't like the sample being that low, so I want to pitch it back up. I can select E2 to focus on that pad, hit pitch and speed, make sure that it is vinyl mode off, so no, and I can adjust the pitch of that. And that's not going to affect the length of the loop because it's stuck with a marker at the front, a marker at the end, kind of like two stakes. It's not going to shrink or expand. It's going to just adjust the pitch of that sample. And now I can hit shift tap tempo and slow it down. Or speed it up. Essentially why I love this machine is because it's so flexible as far as manipulating sounds and getting sounds to land where you want them to land and be placed where you want them to be placed, be pitched high or low, stretch single pads out, stretch multiple pads out. It's essentially endless. It's almost like Play-Doh with sounds. You can do anything. That kind of covers the pad sequencer for the most part. Let's try exploring the resample method. I am going to try and use the skipback method for this. So I'm going to go menu, clear out what's been recorded as far as the skipback, and I'm just going to play something here. So I'll hit mark, and it will show me what was just recorded. You can hit subpad to preview that. And I want to adjust that so it loops properly. Okay, so right there, right, resample for 0 cross. I'll say right there. Okay, now I want to go menu, truncate, and record, select pad to save. So it's going to save that skip back recording to a specific pad. So let's go to D. So all of these are open. Let's go D1. And there you go. One thing about the resample method and skip back method is that it's very fluid. That was with no quantize, no metronome. It's just basically all feel. So it's very open as far as creating beats. And now we have a drum loop to work with, and we can add samples over that. So there are two ways to record this. You can do the proper resample method, or you can experiment on the fly, and everything is being recorded in the skipback method. It's kind of doing the same thing in two different ways. I'll do the resample method and try it that way. It takes a little more focus on timing. I'm going to hit the resample button, and I'm going to select D2 to be the area where I want to resample. Essentially what a resample is blending two sounds together and then sending that to a new location. So in this case, pad D2. So I'm going to start the drum loop, then I'm going to switch to bank C and start playing the samples over top, and then I'm going to hit record to stop the recording, and then we'll have some new audio to work with there. Okay, that's been recorded into pad D2, and now we just have to edit the start and end points, and we have a new 4-bar beat loop. When you resample, it records the effects that are currently set on those pads. So that's why it sounds overwhelming right now, is because it's doubling up on the effects. So I'm going to go Shift 16. I'm going to turn off the master effects of isolator and compressor because it's just compressing twice, and then I'll exit out of that. So that pad D2 has the isolator and compressor recorded into it. I guess as a brief side note, the pattern sequencer is more of a non-destructive way of creating beats as far as keeping the drums and the samples separate, and you can do stuff to it later like you've seen. The resample method is once it's recorded, that's it, it's permanent. You can't really go in and extract it, so it's very much a sketch. It's very permanent. There's nothing that can change after that. You can apply effects to that new loop, but you can't change the effects of the individual layers of that loop anymore. Some people like that, some people don't. I like both methods, but let's change the start and end point of this so we can loop this up and have our new beat. So that's where the loop starts. Go here, press resample for 0 cross snap. That's the start. Menu truncate to get the start point set. Okay. That's where it ends. So if I hit menu, truncate again, now zoom out. This is our perfect 4-bar loop for our beat. Just had to change the loop point again. So that was kind of over here. That just sets where you want the loop to start again. So we don't want to start the loop again in the middle. We want to start at the beginning. So slide it way over to the left, and let's hear it. So you can hear it's way looser as far as how the drums sound, where the swing is, where the loop point is. It's very rough, but I actually like that sound. And yeah, it's just a lot more fun experimenting and layering and making permanent decisions as far as like how you want your beat to sound, which is, again, some people love it, some people really don't like it. But yeah, the hybrid way is to take that, so that loop is now registering as 90 BPM, and you can record that into a pattern and manipulate it that way. Just kind of add layers onto it, and again, split that out as a stem and do resample method for that. And it's kind of like this fluid way of making beats. You can pretty much do anything you want as far as recording goes. I think that covers everything as far as pattern sequencing, resampling, and using the hybrid method. In the next video, I'll be covering shortcuts and advanced techniques and tricks that help out my workflow that I think will be super useful for beginners and even advanced beat makers on the SP-404 Mark II. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.